What does the narcissist hate most about you? Today we're going to look at those things that narcissists hate about people because they have normal emotions and a normal personality type of those highly empathic people that they tend to choose as a priority, right? In their relationships, whether they are a couple or a friend, remember that I'm going to leave the best for the best, right? Remember that I'm going to leave the best for the end together with my personal conclusion well. It's interesting to know what narcissists hate the most, right? Because this really are, again, weaknesses of this type of people, so if we pay attention to what they hate the most, right? This type of people, then if we attend and we know and we are clear about what narcissists are hating, we will be able to have many more tools and resources for this type of person, well, to face this type of situation that sometimes occurs in complication with this type of person. Is given in complication with this type of profiles, right? Having said that, let's look at those things that drive narcissists crazy. First of all, narcissists hate criticism, and they have a horrifying fear of what failure can be. This is fatal for those who still believe that narcissists have a high self-esteem and a lot of self-confidence, and a lot of security of truth that if it is not a narcissist grandioso very accused, it is not in the habit of being the general tonic, this type of problem disorder of personality, is given because it is a defective defense mechanism based on a low self-esteem and an important fragility and a manifest insecurity. Then they always try to camouflage what is that fear to the failure, that fear to the solitude. In this type of trickery and in this type of lifestyle that in the end is a very parasitic lifestyle for its victims. In this case, the narcissist that you always tell me that I speak masculine, and you have to take into account that it is still the masculine is usually used for both genders. Well, you can't complain, they are both genders. And in both genders, there are a lot of narcissistic and other types of profiles, even more pronounced in both genders. And I repeat again, the disorder is very underestimated, even the traits without the need to be diagnosed in its totality. We are talking about a society with very marked traits of narcissism in general in men and in women, so this type of profiles have an intense fear of failure and a great insecurity. To the failure and a great insecurity to the criticism, they do not tolerate it. They do not tolerate the criticism as they focus it. Hey, then the criticism, they focus it in the following way. As a personal attack, and given that it is an attack on them personally in a very personal way, even if it is very constructive, and very weak criticism, even if it is a very light criticism and totally constructive, this type of people will take it as a personal attack and consequently will initiate revenge, so it would not be a good tactic to criticize them openly and directly because it really is a full-fledged provocation and you don't know how they might respond, plus they tend to think very highly of themselves by default. By default, to think very highly of themselves and anything to the contrary is going to be a threat again, and they will take it as a personal attack. They do not contemplate the possibility of someone criticizing them because if they are not that perfection that they believe they are, and of course only they exercise that perfection, the others will have a lot of imperfections always below them, and when you make the slightest mistake they will emphasize it. And once again, narcissists also have a very pronounced need to control this because once again this insecurity becomes evident. It becomes explicit, it becomes clear when that need for control. That is to say, it is overwhelming in such a short time, it is worth to say it in a clear way. In such a very short time, their relationships, no matter what type they are. They want to have everything under control, also they do not feel comfortable with changes. This emotional instability is reflected, and when a person in general does not feel comfortable with changes, I know that changes cost. And they are not usually easy for anyone. But when a person is emotionally unstable, she tends to feel the changes more than normal. And this is the case of narcissistic people. Narcissistic people tend to take changes very badly because they lose control. Really, when things change, when things are so changeable, whatever they are, they lose control of the situation, right? Because they are terrible with this, because when they change, when there is a change of plans, when there is a change of scenarios, suddenly the instability is worth a narcissistic person can play very well the role of being fully integrated in society. To be completely integrated in society, to be perfect, to be flawless, to be perfect. be a very good person, and yet when you turn the environmental situation upside down, even if you are going to see their true face, they immediately become very unstable because they have changed the roles, they have changed the scenario, and they are no longer in control, and it is already something very, very obsessive for their part. Something very, very obsessive on their part. You're going to see it, you're going to see their true personality, really, and if you want clear proof of whether your partner or someone you know is a narcissist, change the reality at a specific time that there is a change, that things change, not necessarily in the relationship or in anything. Serious, simply a change of plan, something that will disrupt that necessary control they need, that tight control. And you will see their true personality they also hate. The abandonment, the loneliness, because really the society, the people, their followers, are the fuel they need to feel important. If you want to know if you are a narcissist or not, ask yourself if you could live alone without anyone else. If this is not really a determinant for you, and you could live alone without anyone, you think that other people are not contributing much to you, or that without them you would not be able to live alone, or that you could really go on living without them, and you have empathy, there is really no reason to understand that you are a narcissist. So understand that you are a narcissist. What happens with narcissists, because they always need to have their audience there, which is the constant massive validation and fuel that they need to keep on living every day, so they are very afraid of loneliness, very afraid of abandonment, and that's why they bounce back so much when there is an attempt to leave the relationship on the part of the other party, in this case the partner who is also suffering from their Machiavellian behaviors. Logically, they don't want to lose their fuel source at that moment. This means, well, what does it mean then that perhaps the narcissist will arrive one day when she considers that she has exhausted your fuel, then she will produce a rest. A break, himself or herself. In fact, they will always link a relationship with another one because they are not capable of being alone. From then on, when they have another partner, well, if they consider that you have already changed, you are quite open, and you are very open, and you are very open, and you are very... They will really understand that the relationship has nothing more than a very instrumental relationship, 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 a very material relationship, and they are going to discard you after a future retirement and want to get you back as their possession for the rest of your life. Share this valuable content with those people that you know that can be useful to them who do not know this problem yet, and that for sure this kind of information will open their eyes. More things that narcissists hate about people because they are not like them. That need of admiration that they have, that suddenly that admiration and attention is taken away from them, and they can easily get bored if they consider that they are not receiving that admiration and that attention from their partner in that relationship, that sometimes it doesn't even have to be a complete couple relationship. These types of couples stand out for their lack of reciprocity. There is an alarming red flag when that person is not willing or not able to offer the same intensity or the same rules or the same thing that the other party is offering. Then there is a lack of reciprocity on their part, and, well, sometimes it works on the basis of an emotional incapacity. Sometimes they are very cold, emotionally speaking. They are, of course, not able to put themselves in the other party's shoes, so they tend to be very bad listeners. Especially when the moment of the conquest has already passed and we are in the day-to-day already knowing their more real and personal side, then we realize that this person is not a good listener. Then we realize that this person only needs admiration and constant attention, and always that kind of reinforcement goes in the same direction towards the person. Reinforcement goes in the same direction towards him or her, but when we have a problem, we do not. No, unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. They don't even stop to look at us, right? It is very, very characteristic, the lack even of eye contact notice, that is to say, that they neither look at us nor look at you. And they don't even stop for a moment to look at you, and you can make person-to-person contact. This is the closest thing we are to a dehumanization, and this is a pandemic today. There are a lot of narcissistic people and people who are narcissistic. I don't know where we're going. I really don't know what the next step in humanity is. To draw it, and the AI drew a monkey, so of course we are not just going forward in the future. This is a personal opinion here. Between hollow and hollow, I have a rather pessimistic opinion looking at what I have seen, and well, based on my personal experience in the sessions and so on, the truth is that there are a lot of narcissistic people, and this is a pandemic and every man for himself, because at the end of the day, it reminds me of the zombie survival games that I haven't played, but I have seen some of them. Because in the end, these types of people, honestly, without any need to offend, without any need to offend, without any will to offend, as they are so lacking emotionally speaking, so incapable of offering what is necessary, what is just and necessary, nothing excessive, but what is just and necessary. They are very similar to this type of zombies of this type of games. Finally, what the narcissists hate the most, and I leave you here, the video also, is that in the end what they hate the most, and I leave it here at the end as part of the personal part, almost of the personal conclusion, because I have left it, because the most important thing is the last straw. What can bother the most is when you ignore him. Well, that's why I leave you up here. What happens when you ignore a narcissist? Because he becomes, well, in the end he discovers his true personality, his true self. They are incapable of allowing that lack of admiration, that lack of attention. They can't stand not being the center of attention. They can't stand feeling invisible. They are ignored. They will do everything they can to. They never need to be demonstrating all the time their superiority and that they are the center of attention, that is to say, that they are charming, that they are the best, that they are perfect. The fuel is the admiration of the others. They really look for the others, their followers. This is the simile, the most perfect comparison to my way of seeing that I can obtain. That is to say, I compare it with an influencer and their followers they are looking for. They are not looking for people in a friendly relationship. They are looking for followers. I have come to the end of my personal conclusion, and I have already commented a little bit on this issue is complicated. There is a singer out there with a footballer that we have seen there some peak truth. And here I am going to integrate it. I have not made a video on purpose because there has been much talk about the subject and the truth. What do you want me to tell you? But it is true that he marks many features of the same problem we are talking about. The problem we are talking about, and well, people, just as I made a short film and people started to say true names, people with the right information deduce the right information. People with the right information deduce the right things, and so is the case, so is the case, so is the truth, yes. Having said that, the singer has finally done very well to put her foot down and not keep putting up with nonsense. To my view, as an expert, as right now, as I speak in a totally professional way, I don't know them for sure. There will be many details I don't know, and I can't. Therefore, I do not know, and therefore I am not able to assess the situation. Evaluate the situation in its fairness and in its fairest way, speaking on the basis of what we have seen everything, then it is very biased information. Very limited, and surely I'm going to be wrong, and nevertheless I want to say it because some of you have asked me privately on this very subject what is going on. Well, that when you see this kind of attitude. She was in her lowest hours because it seems that her father suffered a fall and needed help, then the problem with the taxes and so on. Again, and I am saying this because of what we have said about looking around you, or in this case at your around you, or in this case next to you, and there is no one to support you, but they do need constant support, constant admiration, constant attention, constant support, then always the flow towards the same person is not reciprocity. In any type of relationship, no matter if it is a professional relationship or a friendship relationship, you have also talked to me a lot in comments about friendship relationships. It is that in the end it is the same thing. They are interpersonal relationships. Those of couple, it can be that they hurt a little more, because it seems that the feeling of betrayal is more evident, and nevertheless a friendship, if the person considers it sincere and true, also hurts a lot. And true also hurts a lot. Every relationship hurts, and in the end it is love because it is fraternal friendship and romantic love as a couple, but it is still romantic love of couple, but it is still because we put some expectations and we put a trust that later is betrayed. Having said this, nothing, and I finish, my personal conclusion here. You have the things that narcissists hate the most, and in the end what narcissists hate the most is that really what they can't control, what doesn't suit them instrumentally, and what they consider a threat to their interests. Well, you have come this far. Don't forget to subscribe to this site and share this valuable content with me. I'm sure you have a lot of people that may be interested in it and open their eyes. Thanks for making it this far, and see you soon.